All right.
So, everybody ready?
Yeah.
Okay. How's it looking there?
Good.
Welcome to Illuminous by Poroso. I'm Julian Cristante. I am the creative director here at Poroso. And today we're sitting down with a man who has been changing the course of audio engineering, music creation, and curation as we know it, Mr. Aaron Labbé. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Yeah. Glad to be here, Julian. So again, I'm Aaron Labbé. I'm the CTO and one of the founders at Lucid.
Mm-hmm.
And Lucid is a company working at the intersection of music, machine learning, and mental health.
Beautiful.
And the mission that we're on is to try to turn music into medicine. Kind of inventing this new methodology around music therapy, basically. The kind of our beginnings around that were a thesis project at Rice University was my thesis project. So I have a background in audio engineering and music and acoustics. And basically the idea was, if we could measure people and figure out what music works best for them, we can better curate content to help them achieve a desired mental state. So the idea there is you can do that repetitively over time. You can act on what's called neuroplasticity and help people achieve healing over time. So this idea grew while I was at Ryerson. I met Dr. Frank Russo, Zoe Thompson, and we started working on this concept together. And over time, post-thesis, Lucid came to life, basically.
That's so beautiful.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So, as someone who is, involved in, the engineering aspect of it as well, but also, trained classical musician, can you explain how a sound absorber can affect the recording process and how that could help you?
Yeah, so a porous sound absorber, what it does is it basically will stop the air pressure and the oscillations of sound in its tracks, basically, and dampen the sound recording space. So, when you're in an environment that's open like this, you have a lot of refractions off the wall, you have echo, you have slapback, and it really muddies up the sound. So you have a microphone here, and it's not only picking up you, the sound source, but it's picking up everything in the space. So when you walk into a space like Poroso, it dampens that space and it really cleans up the recording environment. It allows you to record human sound directly from the source as opposed to kind of the synthesized going through the box system, which normally when you're working from home, that's kind of what you're stuck with.
Yeah, for sure. So then when you're working from home, do you believe that, a certain studio setup really helps in terms of your work efficiency, and how so?
Yeah, so at the end of the day, especially when you're talking about therapeutic music, you really want a human sounding connection, right? There's all these new fancy tools now and again that allow you to make sound, in the box, but recording a natural instrument or recording somebody singing is just very difficult to do in the home space. When you have this ability to have a soundproofed environment while you're working at home, you have the ability to create content that just sounds so rich and so real. Now that we're all stuck at home, it's really hard to go into the studio and get that beautiful sound. So having these mobile setups really unlock this amazing potential to create beautifully sounding therapeutic music, but moreover, create that human connection that we're craving so much these days, right?
For sure. Yeah. So, with COVID happening and everything, and, we've seen it affect a lot of businesses, a lot of industries. How has it affected yours? And do you think work from home will become more of a staple in the future, especially for your business and industry?
Yeah, so I think for my industry at large, for musicians, I think the lack of being able to perform live has been a massive impact, right? And a very difficult thing for a lot of my friends and colleagues in the space. I think for therapeutic music, it's actually almost opened up a new industry for us, right? People are now caring a lot more about their mental health and looking for alternatives outside of the traditional mental health system. The one thing that I think will sustain that has been a positive is this idea of at-home creation and this idea of kind of agile creativity, which is kind of interesting, right? It allows us to open up collaborations with artists that we normally wouldn't be able to bring into the studio. I think the ability for people to create recorded music at like a much bigger scale is really interesting, right? We have artists who are pumping out hours and hours of music that would normally cost them thousands of dollars in the studio. So I think that's one thing that will carry forward, but I am excited to be live in like a public environment again for performances, because we all want to go to a show for sure.
For sure, I think everybody misses that to a large degree.
Oh, yeah,
definitely something we're all looking forward to.
Definitely, but I do think there are going to be some positives in this new workflow that will carry forward in terms of working from home, which I think is a good thing. Yeah.
Do you also think that due to this, maybe it has made music creation a little bit more accessible, and also encouraged, the musical creative side for a lot of people that were kind of stuck at home during COVID.
Oh, 100%. I mean, like, you have the beautiful thing about music is it's democratized in a lot of ways, right? There's hobbyists, there's amateurs, and then there's like professionals, and we can all kind of coexist in a lot of ways, right? And at-home tools like all this stuff that I get to work with every day has made it easy for people to get started, right? And even the Poroso, when you think about it, like at this price point for something that you can have such a strong, rich sound quality at home, it's amazing. It unlocks people who normally would never go to a recording studio because they're hobbyists. Now they can actually record really high quality content right in the comfort of their living room, right? Or their bedroom.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is really great.
Yeah. So, working from home, being a manager of musicians, being a producer, and being a musician yourself that collaborates with other musicians, how important is it for you to actually be mobile and have something that you can, have high quality recording brought with you,
Yeah, I think it's crucial. I mean, even back in the day, like the standard of practice was like bring people into the studio, which is really difficult to do, especially if you want to have this kind of globalized community of artists working together. There's artists that you want to work with that are all around the world in the depths of the jungle or Eastern Europe or whatever, and they don't necessarily have access to studios. It's much easier for you to go to them with a mobile setup and then capture the sound, at the source, right? It's enabling collaborations that would never be able to happen, and it's again democratizing things in a much bigger way. You don't have to have this massive budget anymore in order to create content. So I think for me as a manager, one, it's cutting costs, right? Obviously from a practical sense, but two, it's opening up collaborations that I'd never be able to produce otherwise. So I think it's a really exciting time to be working in music for sure.
For sure, yeah. So just a little bit more of a personal question, I guess, about yourself and about Lucid. How do you plan to disrupt not only the industry, but also our society through audio engineering? And what impact do you want to leave through Lucid?
Yeah, so I mean, I'm a huge audio nerd. I'm not only obsessed about the technology, but how audio and sound impacts the brain. And what I've learned in that process is that it's such a powerful driver, and with enough exposure and the right use, you can actually change your neural pathways using something just as simple as music. Right? So really what I'd love to do is disrupt mental health as we know it, right? We have this very, very deep, enriched, kind of like grounded experience around mental health that people get pills, people get the standard of practice, but I'd love to open our eyes to new possibilities around healing and treatment, and using something that is as non-invasive and pleasurable as music to change people's lives in a very positive way. Again, at Lucid, we're trying to turn music into medicine, and I think that is something that I really stand behind, and I hope to kind of disrupt the healthcare space as we know it, using that modality. Yeah. For
sure. And I'm really, really excited to see you guys do that. I mean, you guys have made leaps and bounds already.
Yeah.
And it's really amazing to see, the power that you can bring through, audio engineering and music creation and that kind of stuff. So,
yeah, I mean, it's funny. Like, I mean, we almost, as a human race, we used to do that, right? It was like, we used to use music for communal healing, for personal healing. And then as we industrialized, we really kind of lost that connection.
Yeah.
So if anything, Lucid's just trying to bring it back, right? We're trying to kind of use our modern technology to make that feasible again for us.
That's such a beautiful thing.
Yeah,
that's
totally.
amazing.
I think so.
Yeah. Well, Aaron, I really appreciate you joining us here on Illuminus. Everybody, please go check out the Lucid Project, lucidproject.ca. Go download Vibe on the Apple Store, on Android Store. A beautifully engineered and curated app will change your life. Please check it out. And again, can't thank you enough for joining us today.
Yeah, happy to be here. Thanks, Jim.
Of course. All right.
Cheers.
Thanks, guys.
Oh, baby, just give me one reason. Oh, just give me one reason why. And you know that I loved you. I loved you so many times. Said I'm too old to go messing around, wasting my precious energy.